this is Sandra here and welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna just film a really quick intro before we get into the video. I'm afraid it might be a rather lengthy one. So I decided to film you my eyeshadow collection, which includes both singles and palettes, and it's more with the reason so you can help me decide what I want to pen next year. I want to pen 1 or 2 palettes, and then if I pen 2 palettes, that's it. If I pen 1, then I think I will try to add some of my single shadows into the mix, just so it helps me use products that I might not have a lot left of, so it doesn't just take up space in my collection, but also more importantly, so it doesn't go bad. I have quite a few palettes, and I think this will be just an easier way for me to decide because I'm not too sure, and I'm gonna share with you, you will see what I think I want to use, but I'm not entirely sure, as I mentioned like 500 times already in the past minute. So if you could help me decide, that would be great. Also, quite a few of the palettes might not be cruelty free, so again, that might be another reason why I actually want to get rid of it. That's how you pronounce it, Sandra. And I'm not that much that set on my singles, but I really want to get some more use out of the palettes, and it's going to be a whole year thing. So I started my YouTube channel earlier this year, about half a year ago, 7 months ago. So obviously I don't have that much progress in my palettes this year, but those will be out next time. And I want to work on the next selection for a whole year, just to see if I can actually, you know, finish it up, or what sort of use I can get out of it. And I'm wondering if there's anything else I wanted to tell you. I'm sure there is, but me being me, I'm sure I also forgot. What else? Alright, so please help me in the comments if you were me, what would you pen next year? Or you can give me more options as well, as obviously I want to pen 1 palette and either a few singles or 2 palettes. You will see in the further part of the video what I mean by that. And also, if there's any palettes that you want to see looks with, or, you know, I don't know, an eyeshadow bingo or whatever, or even singles, let me know. I would be more than happy to do that. But for now, I'm gonna go and we jump into the rest of the video. Enjoy! Alright guys, let's get started. So there are about 30 palettes in here, I would say, and about 15 singles. If not, I will correct myself on the screen. Also, I hope the setup is fine. I've never done one of these videos before, so let's see. As I said in the intro, probably, I will obviously tell you which palettes I think of sort of penning next year. Not sort of, like penning. I also might want to add some of my singles, just because otherwise I feel like I'm not getting much use out of them. But without blabbering, I would say let's start with the big palettes first, which is mainly this pile. So the first one is just my Z palette, or Z palette, whatever you want to call it. And as you can see, it mainly has blushes in here, so we're gonna ignore that part for now. But it still has quite a few eyeshadows, so it has a little Max Factor eyeshadow quad there. And also, if some of it is dirty, please excuse me, but you know, it's just the reality of life. These palettes get good use, and I would say most of these have quite good use, but you tell me. And then these 2 shadows are from Benefit. No, this is a blush, so we can ignore that. There are 2 eyeshadows here. This is from NARS, and then this one, actually, I'm not too sure what this is. Oh, it's just a little, well, I thought when I ordered it, it was Wet n Wild, but on the packaging it said Explode, so I'm not too sure. These tiny ones came from one of those palettes that you can order on Amazon. It has like 50 colors or 101, you know, those palettes with the small pens. These are the only shades I kept from mine, and the rest I've thrown away. And then this one I think is a Benefit eyebrow product, yeah. So that one we can ignore, but basically there are all these singles here, those 2, and then that one. I think I'm going to leave those for now, but you can tell me again, please let me know what you think, what I should pen next year. But for now, that's gonna go. Then the next palette is from my Kit Co, which is a double-sided Z palette. And what I've done with this basically is that all my cruelty-free options are in this palette, and then all my non-cruelty free options are in the previous pink palette that I showed you. And on this side it has all my cheek bits and things, and then this is the side where I have all the eye shadows basically. So these two are from Essence, and then that one is from a company called, what is it actually called? I bought this when I was in Milan. Oh, hold on. It's from a company called Viken, and actually it's a really nice shade. It's one of those burgundy, fiery kind of colors. It's really pretty. And then these are from the Sleek Oh So Pretty palette. These are the only shades that I kept, and then some of them I also used up before. These 4 shades are all NYX Prismatic Shadows that I just depotted, and oh, this green one is so pretty. Not sure how much you can see again with the lights. It's hard to set. I have to say though, I will have to get some good use out of these shadows because they are getting a bit older now. Look at that. They're getting a bit older now, so they are not exactly behaving how they used to. I really like this one as well. I think it's called like My Girl or something like that. Look at that. It's sort of like Kitten Karma, but a bit more pink. And I gave Kitten Karma to my mom. There you go. Or Shy Girl or something like that. Look at that. It would be quite nice as a highlight as well, but I'm not sure if it wouldn't be chunky. Let me see. It's called, oh no, sorry, Girl Talk, Fireball, Mermaid, and Punk Heart, I think. Yeah, Punk Heart. These two are fairly new to my collection. They're both beautiful shades, but those are from Kryolan, and I just added them this year, I think. So those I don't think I want to pen. Also, the pens are huge. They're really pretty though. And then these 5 shades are all from my Naked 2 palette, which I depotted, and the rest I either gave to my mom or threw away. I think I'm not sure I threw away any shades actually, but yeah. So those might be eligible, I think, just because my Naked 2 palette at this point is quite old, so that might be quite a good idea to get use from some of those palettes. And then basically that's all my Z palettes gone. I only have 2. I had a small one as well, but I gave the depotted shades that I didn't want to my mum, who would enjoy those shades in that. So I'm thinking of buying out a small one just so I can maybe put like products that I want to pen in there. That would be a good idea because both of these are so huge. If I'm going somewhere, I can't really carry those around. The next big palette is the Morphe Brushes 35B palette, and look at those colors. As you can see, this palette has seen plenty of love. I would say I had this for about 3 years at this point, so this could be potentially a good palette, although this is not what I had in mind. But I would love to get more use out of this, but obviously most of these colors are not something that I would wear every single day, although the pinks could be worn, and you know, those shades. Possibly the purples. Like, I love color, but I'm just, yeah, I can't wear this every day at work. But I do love these colors. I mean, you see there is 1, 2, 3, 4 pens in there, and you can see it's well loved. Just in general, there are dips in other colors. This is a beautiful color as well. I love this color. It's just that muted pinky kind of shade. It's really beautiful, and you can actually build it up. It blends nicely. I'm really sad that I just learned it actually recently. I didn't know that Morphe is not cruelty free anymore, which breaks my heart. Now I have to add all my Morphe palettes as well. Sorry, I just checked if I said the right number. This is actually my only Morphe palette. But yeah, I'm really sad. I wanted to buy more and actually try some of the smaller palettes. I wanted to try like the continuous setting spray, but Morphe is not cruelty free anymore, so that's really sad and unfortunate. And then the last big palette I have is from Kiko, and this is not full. It's one of those palettes that you build and fill up, and as you can see I have, I think 12 shades in there, and my whole plan was, I think I bought it like at a Black Friday, not last year but maybe the year before, I don't exactly remember when. So these are getting a bit older as well, but my whole plan was that I get some of the shades done and then I fill it up after that later as well with other shades. But soon after I bought this, guess what? They decided to change the shapes of the shadows and the pens, so that was really annoying. But I have quite a few favorites here, like this blue. I like these kind of blues. Let me just swatch it for you. That blue is beautiful, and then this sort of olive green has a bit of shimmer to it as well. Beautiful, beautiful shadow. Yeah, they are really nice. I like that one as well. That orange one, the yellow works quite nice as well. So yeah, it's a half empty palette. What I think I might actually do, that might be a little project next year, is just to turn this into a magnetic palette, because I could get such good use out of this and I don't want to throw it away. So yeah, whether you count those as single shadows or as a palette, for me, they're in a palette. There's 12 shades. They're all colorful, so this is my colorful palette. And eventually I would like to get some, you know, good use out of it. But yeah, whether this is the one I want next year, I don't think so. But let me know if you think I should use this one. Also, I might do an eyeshadow palette bingo with this. Also, if there's anything that you specifically want an eyeshadow palette bingo with, let me know and I can do that. But this was the last big palette, and then now we can move on to some other ones. I think first I'm gonna get my newer ones out of the way, because I don't really want to pen anything that's newer in my collection. I just don't see much point in that. So let's start with my newest one, which is this one. It's the Wildlife palette from Berry M. Obviously you've seen me using this in first impressions, and I am still in the same mindset. It's a beautiful palette. I love the colors, especially Pounds. It's so nice, it's so easy to build, but all of them just blend beautifully. I don't have anything bad to say about this palette. For the price point especially, you can't go wrong with it, and also some of it goes to charity, so I think this is an excellent palette to pick up. One of the other newer palettes in my collection is the Jeffree Star Mini Breaker. This is actually the only Jeffree Star palette that I own, but look at those colors. Now again, because it's a newer one, it doesn't really make any sense to pen this next year, but I would love to get plenty of use out of this. I think the colors are just absolutely stunning. You've seen me creating quite a few looks already, and yeah, it's just beautiful. I will keep using it obviously, but this is not something that I think should be penned just yet. Another fairly recent purchase is the W7 on the Rocks palette. So these are the palettes that, although you can see that they had some use, obviously there's nothing like overwhelming. There's not a lot of pens in these, but obviously I used them quite a few times. Now in this palette, the shades are hit and miss. Some of them are amazing, some of them are a bit harder to use. But I love this nonetheless. The colors are beautiful and I would love to use this more. But there's just too many palettes. But I will get around to use this more again. Maybe I could use a palette bingo with this as well. There are quite a few shades. And I like palette bingos because it shows me different ideas of how I should use a palette. And, you know, it gives me color combinations that I might never use otherwise. So this is one of the other newer palettes in my collection. Another one that I got this year is this little Charlotte Tilbury quad in the shade Pillow Talk. Again, it's not something that I will pen this year, but you can see on this as well. Well, maybe not that much, but it got a few uses. I really enjoy this. It's just really natural, really soft, perfect for days when you don't want anything strong, just a little bit of an easy look, and it's beautiful. The shades are perfect. I especially love this warm brown shade that's almost pink. Not sure how much it comes through. It's a beautiful shade, and I really like this palette. But again, it's not something that should be penned just yet. And then I think these are the ones that I will class as newer. Obviously I bought more things than these, but I will just go with those now. Also, while we are here, let me get the two palettes that I'm penning this year out of the way. I'm not gonna finish these this year, obviously, but I think I'm gonna give them a rest and just move on to something else. This palette is so hard to open. Hold on. There we go. So one of them is the Tom Ford Eye and Cheek palette. Obviously, you can see I worked on this. Now, I only started working on these about half a year ago, so obviously I'm not gonna make as much of a progress in half a year than I can do on the palettes next year. But it's not too bad. I really enjoy this palette and I hope I can get more use out of it. I will try to update you on how I'm getting on this before this video goes up, just so I'm not spoiling this. But this will get a rest next year from penning anyway, and so will my Illamasqua multifaceted palette. This is the other one that's getting a lot of use this year. So again, this will just retire a little bit next year. Let's move on to this sleek palette. I love sleek palettes. As I mentioned, you've seen in my Z palette how I have a few shadows in there from another sleek palette, which was the Oh So Pretty. And then this one is the Snapshots. Yep, the Snapshots palette. I really like sleek shadows, but my only problem in the packaging is that half of the time they do fall apart on me. And I'm not sure why, but you can see as well, I have quite a lot of colourful shadows. This is a really nice palette though. I don't have pen on anything yet, but some of the shades in here are quite unique, like this really vibrant, like glittery orange. I don't really have anything like this in my collection. I mean, look at that colour payoff, look at that shine. I should really bring this palette out more often. Sometimes I just forget I have it. Then also, like, this colour in here looks beautiful. Like, they are all so pigmented and they work so well. Then if we move on to this lighter green as well, like, they are so nice. It's a bit harder to see that lighter green. Not sure why. But it is a beautiful palette. I should really use this more. Maybe I can do like a forgotten palettes eyeshadow bingo. That could work quite well. But yeah, this is the Snapshots palette and I should break this out more. I really should. But because it's so colourful, I'm not sure how achievable this would be for me to pen this in the year. Those three shades I could use quite easily on an everyday basis, but everything else, I'm not too sure. I mean, I love that bright orange, but it's not exactly something you would wear every day, is it? Although it could be really nice just in the inner corner as well. The next one is a palette you've seen many times before. It's the Huda Beauty Electric Obsessions palette, and it's not gonna be a surprise. It's a well-loved palette. That yellow is my favorite. If she would do it in a single, along with, or just in a trio with those three colors, I would be happy. Although the other colors are really beautiful as well, this palette never disappoints me whenever I use it. And I think she also got rid of the mink lashes by now, so she counts as a cruelty-free brand, which I'm really happy about. She has so many beautiful eyeshadows, especially these little 9-pan palettes are so nice. The whole Obsession range, she has so many beautiful palettes. So I might pick up some more in the future, but clearly I don't really need more palettes, but this is a beautiful one. And I do love this palette. I get quite a good use out of this even without penning it, so I'm not sure it would be worth penning this one in particular. But one I'm thinking about penning is this one, which you've seen in the Graveyard Project pen as well. This is the Urban Decay Naked Basics, and this is the most well-loved palette in my collection. I mean, there's barely anything left of this, so I think I will pick this as one of the palettes. I think I can pick either two palettes or like one palette and a few singles to work on, just so I have a few selection and I don't get bored. But I think it's still a good number that I don't, you know, try to do sort of too much, if that makes sense. So I think that could work, but let me know what you think. So this only has 3 shades left in there, all quite easy to use. You have Venus there, which is just a nice highlighting shade either on the brow bone or in the inner corner. Faint, which is a nice darker brown that I can actually get away with using in my brows as well. And then Crave, which is a black, which I don't use too often. But this is one of the oldest palettes in my collection at this point. if not the oldest, and I think next year would be a good year to finally finish it off. I mean, look at it. On one hand, I'm really sad that it's so gone, but on the other hand, I'm so proud of myself that one of my palettes got to this point. Like, it's so nice to see. So I think this is one of the palettes that I want to work on, but again, the whole point of me making this video is that you can tell me what you think. I feel like I need a little bit of help, so please let me know. And then let's move on to some of the other smaller palettes. Another one I'm thinking of actually adding as penning is the Wet n Wild Rosé in the Air, which I think I purchased the end of last year, beginning of this year. I think it was the end of last year, and I don't find this really difficult to pen, or at least I didn't use up any of the shadows. I mean, I didn't hit pen on any of the shadows because I wanted to. It just happened from natural use. But look at it. The shades are beautiful in here. I especially love these two, as you can tell. That one is quite nice as well. That burgundy, that pink. I love all these shades in here. So I'm thinking of adding this one just because even though it's not an old palette in my collection, it has quite a few pens. I enjoy using it. And Wet n Wild unfortunately did a number on us and is not cruelty free anymore. So having that bunny on the front is quite deceiving. But I think this could be a good option as well to pen next year. Maybe even in conjunction with the Naked palette. Those two could be quite nice and complementary just to work together. And it's easy neutrals, so I can use it in my everydays. Or even if I want to do a bit more colourful look, then I can still incorporate this one. And obviously this one has like a few, even these could be like a bit more colourful, but obviously that one as well. It has a nice shimmery shade. So I think this could be another good option as well to pen either by itself or in conjunction with the Naked Basics or with some singles. I think these two are definitely fair contestants for that. Alright, I think just to break up the palettes a little bit, let's move on to the singles. 3 singles that I don't think I will want to try penning now are these loose shadows from Stargazer. I will have to show you though how they look. I think I used them in a tutorial before, but I'm not sure, but I will have to show you because they are beautiful. So I have 2 of the neon eye dusts that they do. I mean, when I say neon, it is neon. These are the 2 neon eye dusts, the pink and the blue. They are essentially just loose pigments, so they really are strong. The pink one is the number 205 and then the blue one is 204. They are both such beautiful colours. How can you not love them? And then I also have a, what is this called? This one is just called an eye dust in the shade 13. And this one is more of like a shiny, icy kind of shade. Let me swatch it for you. The only annoying thing with these that it doesn't have any stopper, so all the powder just sort of falls behind the lid. My camera wouldn't focus. There we go. I'm not sure you can see. So you have to be careful when you open them. But the shades themselves are beautiful. This is more like an icy kind of highlighty color, or it's beautiful as a topper shade as well. All these colors are really nice. There's so much product in here though. Like, how many grams? 1.8 grams. An absolute ton of products. Actually, I have a few more that I forgot to get out. So let me do that. I'm not going to include my glitters, but anything that's like a loose kind of shadow I can do. So these 3 are fairly new to my collection, and again, you only need the smallest bit. I'm not going to even try to do this. It's going to stress me out. And again, these are fairly new, so I'm not going to do that, but they are beautiful. And just so you can see what we're up against as well, you know, what I have duplicates of and whatnot. I mean, nothing is as pigmented and neon as these. Like, nothing can compete with these. But, you know, beautiful, but not penning these, for sure. A similar product to those is my MAC, what is this actually, pigment I think? I can't see, but I'm pretty sure it's a pigment. Oh yeah, pigment color powder. And this is in the shade Copper. My camera has a hard time focusing on this. There we go, but it's just what it says on the tin. It's a copper eyeshadow, and let me open it so I can show you that it doesn't actually have as much product left. Like, I would say it's about half empty. Can you see it? Maybe not, I don't know. Maybe. It's about half empty because once at a party when we were getting ready, someone knocked it over. Well, not at a party, but when we were getting ready to party, knocked it over and halfway it ended up on the bed. But I don't think I will try to... it could be a good idea to try to get more use out of it, but I think if I would include this for the year, I think this would have to be more like a number goal for the year rather than using it all up, because there's still a lot of product in there. And because it's a loose pigment, it's not something I would... I think I tried this as in like a nail polish, it didn't fully work, so I don't think I would use that way. So it'll have to be a number goal if I include this. And then I have two powders from Illamasqua as well. One of them is a pure pigment in the shade... Well, I have no clue how to pronounce that. Beguile, I don't know, Beguile. And this is one of those more icy, highlighty shades as well. Let me show it to you. And then the other one I'm going to swatch as well, again from Illamasqua. It's still a pure pigment, but it's in the shade Berber, which is just, I think that's how I pronounce it, one of those reddy, fiery shades again. You can clearly tell what shades I love, and again, these are the ones that if I would include them, for sure I would have a number goal, because these loose pigment last for ages. Now, these ones don't exactly have like a great closing mechanism as well, but in the lid there's like a little bump that sort of stops the product from falling out. So it's a lot better than the Stargazer products. But I can see, I'm already gonna have like sparkly bits all over my room after filming this. There we go. So there is both the more reddy one and the sparkly one. You can see that it's like a white powder, but it has yellow, green and like blue reflects in it. They are both beautiful, beautiful shades. But again, loose pigments are not something I necessarily want to include unless I have a number goal on them. Goodness. Sparkles everywhere. But let me know what you think. Have any of you ever tried to like use up a whole pigment? Let me know. I don't know how that would work, but it could be interesting. One last loose item that I have is from Kryolan, and I really like this. This is a newer one. I think I bought it this year, and it doesn't really have a shade name. Again, it has 3 grams in there. So much product. And it's the shade SP331. It's basically a really natural satin finish. I think I have up a tutorial with this somewhere. It has a slight peach tint to it. I don't think you're going to be able to see it on camera. You can just see that it's shiny there. That's probably all you see. It's a beautiful color though. It's really natural. It's one of those shades that just gives your lids that wet lid kind of look. So I really, really like this. Again, it's new, so I wouldn't think of including this. Some products that are older though and would be quite nice to include are these 2 NARS shadows. I really like them because they are magnetic, so they hold onto each other, which I don't know why I find it so much fun. It just is. But they just hold on to each other like in really funny shapes, but you can sort of like stack them up and then, yeah, it's not really important, is it? I have 2 shades. One of them is Cressida, which is a beautiful blue shade, and the other one that I have is Himalaya. They are both of like the dual intensity shadows, which means that they sparkle like mad. They are beautiful. Let me swatch them just both on my fingers. I mean, how can you not like them? Look at them. They are gorgeous. I bought these before NARS went non-cruelty free, and if they would still be cruelty free, I think at this point I would have a whole collection of these shadows. They are beautiful. Now, I don't think I want to pan the blue just because that's a lot of work, but I might try to include Himalaya. I think that could be a nice idea. It's just a beautiful brown that's easy to use, and I would enjoy getting some more use out of it, just because with my single shadows I feel like sometimes I forget about them, and that would be a lovely shade I could use all the time, but I should bring these out for some tutorials because they are beautiful. And I'm so sad. If you know any cruelty-free options that are really similar to this formula, please don't hesitate, let me know. Not because I need more eyeshadows, but because I love these and I would love to know what else is similar out there. They are so stunning. And I wouldn't mind having more single shadows, just because that way I can choose more of what I want to include in my collection. Not like I need more again, but still. And then another one is a Catrice, which I had in a project pen before. And while I love looking at this shade, it's not something I get a lot of use out of. I just don't often wear silvery shadows or cool toned ones in general, but they are quite pretty. But again, I don't think this is something I would include. I mean, there's a little bit of a dip in there, so it was worth including it in a project, but I haven't got a lot of use out of this, I'm not gonna lie. But I like to have it. You never know when you need a silver shadow, she says, when she never wears it, but, you know, it's the makeup lover in me. Just gotta have them all, like the Pokemons. Alright, if the angles change a bit, it's because I had to change the batteries in the camera. But we're back and there's only a few more single shadows left. I really hope you grabbed some hot beverage because it's a longer video. So the next shade that we're going to move on is the Balm Shady Lady. Again, it's one of those really pretty, more olive kind of colors. It's so nice. I really love this shadow, but again, it's huge. And again, I never really heard anyone talking about these shadows for some reason. It has 3.4 grams in there, absolutely massive, but it's so nice. The color of it truly is beautiful. Oh, there we go, so you can actually see it's a bit more muted olive than the one in the Kiko palette. It's more of like a khaki green / olive, but in some shades it looks a bit more browny as well. It's beautiful. I should, you know, use this a lot more as well. Maybe I could use like a single shadows palette bingo as well, although I'm not sure, not palette, like eyeshadow bingo, but I'm not sure how that would work. But yeah, please let me know if you want to see any of these in action. I would happily do that. Whether I would include this in a project pen, I'm not sure, but it definitely needs to come out more. These videos are quite nice actually to see what I should use more. Another one that I haven't got a lot of use, I got this from my friend, I think she bought two and she got one of them for me, is the Natural Collection Snowstorm eyeshadow. It's fragrance free as well, so if you're sensitive, could be good. I'm not sure if they are actually cruelty free. Does anyone know? Are they? It's still super soft, and it's one of those white shadows with a purple like reflect to it. It's gonna be hard to see, but you can see lovely and shiny. Again, it's beautiful for the inner corner. It works perfectly well for that purpose, if I could talk. And we're almost at the end of my single shadows. Don't you worry. Another one that I had for a really long time and actually want to buy more of these is my Urban Decay Moon Dust in the shade Solstice. It's such a beautiful color. It's really similar to the color I keep seeing in the Makeup Geek and Many MUA palette. It's like this browny burgundy shade with blue, green and purple reflex. It works by itself for a more subtle look, but it also works perfectly as a topper on brown shadows. As you can see there, you can see how well it changes color, even if it's not fully true. It's really hard to set lights in here, but it's such a nice color. I think this would be really hard to pen, I'm not gonna lie, just because it's so firmly pressed. I had this for years. I used this so many times, and you can see it wears down in like chunks. Like the surface of this is so bitty, and obviously it's also because maybe because it's getting older. I don't think so though, and also because of the shimmer, it's hard to see. But since it was new, that's how it was wearing down, and it still looks exactly the same as it did in the beginning. It's such a beautiful shade. If you have any recommendation what colors to get, please let me know. I know, there's a lot of things I want you to let me know. I'm just greedy like that. I like talking to people. So any recommendations are welcome other than ideas of what I should pen. And I really enjoy this. I think this would be a pain to pen though. A massive pain. It's a beautiful color though. I will enjoy this for sure. Second to last is a single I am penning currently in my Project Roulette pen. And this is a Kiko eyeshadow in the shade 17, I think. It's starting to wear away. I'm pretty sure that's the shade name. It's just a really neutral light pink eyeshadow. The formula is really nice and soft. I think these are the new shapes of like the smart shadows, the ones I have in the palette. I think the singles are now in more of a rectangle rather than a circle. It's a nice shadow, but I'm not sure where I'm going to be by the time we finish with the project. Hard to tell. If I'm not finished with it in that project, it might be nice to throw this in again just as a companion shadow. It would be something easy to use just as a blending out color if I go a bit ham on a dark color, or just as setting down my eyelids. It could work quite well. So if it survives that project pen, which my goal in that project pen is just to use up half of it, so it might as well, then, you know, this might be quite a good idea to throw in next year just so I can use it up, even though Kiko is cruelty free, but, you know, it might be nice just to use it up and not to forget about this. Finally, last is my Charlotte Tilbury single eyeshadow, and it's the Nocturnal Cat Eyes to Hypnotize in the shade Silver Leopard. Such a long name. Also, I don't know why my camera is not focusing today, but it's just this beautiful grey, greeny, really shimmery shadow. And while it looks beautiful by itself, I enjoy using it a lot as a topper shade as well on greens and greys. It works so well, but again, by itself, I mean, look at that. I think it's one of those really typical Charlotte Tilbury smoldering shades. It just looks so nice for New Year's Eve. As a party, it would look beautiful. In some lights it's silver, in others it's grey, in others it's more, you know, green. I just can't talk. But in every angle it's shimmery. It's a beautiful shadow. Again, it's a bit more one of those hard pressed shades that you don't need a lot of, so it would be a pain to use. I had this for quite a few years now, but to be fair, the quality of it is still the same as it was, I think, 2 years ago when I got this. So I'm not sure again if this is something I would like to pen, unless you want me to, you know, try to. I could, I guess. I could definitely not use up the whole thing. I might be able to hit pen, but it's a beautiful shadow. And that was the last of the single eyeshadows. So now we're gonna move back to the palettes. And I think what I'm gonna do is that I'm just gonna move from the back, what you see on this side, all the way down. It might be just the easiest way. So on the top, we're not going in any particular order, is the number 7 Maple Glow palette, which I got as a gifted purchase this year. I used it in a first impressions, and I'm gonna be honest, haven't used it since. It is a nice palette, it just didn't impress me enough to crack it open, which is sad, and I should. The shades are quite easy to use, the blush is quite nice as well, although I'm not sure it gave me enough colour. But again, it's one of those quite handy eye and cheek palettes. Just because it's newer, I'm not sure I would like to pen it, but on the other hand, it would be nice to pen, because otherwise I'm not sure I'm going to use it. And then if I don't like it, I can maybe decide to give it to my mom, to any friends who might want it. I just don't think I'm going to get enough use out of this. And to be fair, before that as well, I have palettes like, for example, the Wet n Wild Walking on Eggshells that I gave to my friend, because I knew that even though I like that palette, I'm not getting enough use out of it, so. A palette, on the other hand, that I really love, and it's currently again in a project pen, is my Becca Volcano Goddess palette. That was limited edition last year. I will try not to blind you with the mirror. I mean, as you can tell, this is a well-loved palette. I have 2 pens in it already. Currently trying to pen Crater as well, so that has a really nice sizable dip. Also, Agate Ash and Haze have some nice dips going on as well. One of my favorite shades in here are Red Rock and actually Lava as well. These two shades are so nice. Actually, Lava on my finger reminds me of a deeper version of the Snapshot palette Orange. It's just obviously a lot more subtle because it's Becca, so it's never gonna be as bright. But those two shades are beautiful. I really like this palette, and I would definitely love to get more use out of it. But it's still, well, I say fairly new. It's a year old, so maybe this could go on the chopping block as well. But this would not be my first pick to pan. Maybe just a few shades here and there I can add in other project pans, like I'm doing now with Crater. Actually, Crater as well. Let me show you. It's a beautiful shade. Let me show you Crater and Agate Ash. Actually, let me show you a few colors because I really like Haze as well. And these shades are so pigmented. They only need the smallest touch to give you like a lovely color payoff. And I'm putting eyeshadow all over my clean pyjama. Never mind. I mean, look at that. They are just simply stunning. It's a shame this was limited edition. I hope you could get your fingers on this because the color payoff is beautiful. They are just so nice and shiny. So maybe a few colors here and there from this. I don't think I would pan the whole palette, but a few colors here and there could be quite nice. The writing unfortunately is gone, but I think it's just because I handled it so much that it wore away. Another palette that... Did I get this year? No, I think I got it last year. Is the Magic Mini by GVS. This is my first and only GVS Place palette so far, but I absolutely love the colors. My favorites are Nana and Zakia. Clearly, I'm a sucker for a nice warm shade. I also really like Falso. There is beautiful. Now, I don't know how to pronounce this shade. Yamoya, maybe? I don't know. I don't use this often, but it's such a beautiful shade. I should really think of a few looks to create with this. It's such a nice light baby blue kind of color. It would be beautiful even with purples. I use Kogi and Cassie quite a lot as well. A few times I use these Boronu shades. The only shades that I'm not too sure of are this one, which is Ife? I don't know. And then, oh my god, these names. Yayida? Yeah, those are, I haven't used too much. But I used each shadow in this at least once, as far as I'm aware. Oh, sorry, you don't see the whole thing. Again, because this is fairly new, I'm not sure it would be something I would like to pan. But maybe just a shade here and there could be quite nice. I really like this palette though. It's beautiful. The color payoff on these shadows is amazing. It's just as amazing as everyone else says it is. The quality is really good. And I would love to have more Juvia's Place palettes. I really like this. I think it got a bit worn looking now, or at least a bit lighter than it was. I think it's because it's out on my table and the sun is just, you know, doing its thing. Even though it's not fully in the window, but it's not far from the window. But the shadows are amazing in this palette. Okay. Since we talked about the other Becca palette, I might show these as well together, as they would go quite nice as a pair. It's the Ombre Rouge and the Ombre Nudes, as you can see. I really like this. This one is a bit better used than the other one. This is the Ombre Rouge, which is the warmer toned palette. Now, because it's washed out, you can't really see. I have a really good dip going on in this one. Unfortunately, the shades don't have names, like in the Volcano Goddess. They only have numbers. So this is number 2, but this is my most used shades. Actually, you can probably see a little dip going on. I absolutely adore this palette. They blend beautifully. They are really nice. They are just good neutral palettes to have. And then this is the newer one out of the 2, which is the Ombre Nudes. And it's just a more cooler tone palettes. They are both really neutral. These two shades are actually quite nice mixed for my eyebrows as well. They work really well for that. And the main reason for me purchasing this one was so it can sort of replace my Naked Basics. But I love both of these, especially the warmer version, but this is a really good basic as well. If you're looking for just some good basic palettes with nudes, if you're not like me who has 100 nude palettes, then these two are really nice. Quality wise they are great, they blend amazing, and I'm quite happy that I have these two in my collection, even though they might not be the most exciting color story wise, but they are great to have on hand anytime I just need a good blending color or anything neutral really. Another palette that is in a project pan at the moment, or at least one of the shades, is the Urban Decay Cherry palette, and I would love to have more use out of this. I haven't used it nearly as much as I should. At the moment I'm working on Bang Bang, and this palette is about a year old, I think. I bought it at the end of last year, so I think I can still give it a break and not, you know, go ham on this and trying to pan this. As you can see, I used it a little bit, but not nearly enough. So next year, I think that's one of my resolutions. I would love to get more use out of my palettes, but I think at this point we can skip this. But you tell me, but I think at the moment it's okay. Hopefully I can hit pan on Bang Bang, or at least get really use out of it by the end of the other project. Also, the packaging on this one, oh, it's so pretty. It might be just because I love cherries and I love burgundy colored shadows, or anything like raspberry sort of color, anything this kind of color I love. So of course I had to have this. I got it quite a while after it was launched, and I also got one of the eyeliners from the collection, so I was trying to be good, but eventually I just had to have it. I have a little duo from Inglot, and again I just found out that Inglot is not cruelty free, which is breaking my heart because I just bought a few things from them from the Powerpuff collection. Disappointing. But this is just basically two grey shades. They are both matte, and it's a little magnetic palette. It's one of their freedom palettes that you can just build for yourself, and they are quite good quality. They blend really nice, and I didn't really have any matte grey shadows in my collection. I still don't really do, to be fair. I think I have like a shade in the Kiko palette. I have these two. But grey is not a color I have in a lot of my palettes. I have blacks and browns, but not really greys unless they are shimmery. And that's exactly why I bought these two, just so I can have them on hand. Fair to say I haven't used them a lot, so maybe this could be something else that I add in the project. What do you think? Just so I can get more use out of them, even though I'm more a warm toned kind of person. I mean, I love my pinks, but in general I gravitate towards more warm colors. I don't often do cool tone colors, but this could actually be really gorgeous with the blue shade from the Juvia's Place palette. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe these two could be a good option, even though I'm not sure how many uses I would get out of it, but maybe this could be a nice option. Then I have 3 Revolution palettes. I'm not sure I used all of these in tutorials, but I used I think 1 or 2 of them before. The first one is the Revolution Iconic Fever. Most of these palettes are quite neutral. I got all these 3 from one of my friends for Christmas. And if you look at these shadows, you can see I dipped in them for a few times, but again, I should use these a lot more often. I think the palette is quite cohesive, although that brighter orange throws me off a bit. I'm not sure why it's there. I mean, I can see it's beautiful as a blending shade or to give it a bit more brightness. Maybe that's why it's in there. Or maybe just for a bit of pop of colour so it looks more interesting. Otherwise it's quite a neutral palette. But they actually, you know, do pretty well. Now my favourite from the bunch is this one, which is the Iconic Reloaded. No, not Iconic, sorry, just Reloaded Neutrals 2. And this is one of my absolute favourites out of these 3. No, not one of my. This is my favourite, especially that shade, that shade, that shade, that shade. Those 4 look so stunning together. I've used that as an eye look quite a few times. This one I really like as well. I should break it out more often. It's one of those burgundy shades I really like. And again, as you can see, it works really well. There's a little bit of fallout, but it's nothing that can't be dealt with if, you know, you do your eyes first. It would be quite nice as a liner as well, or just all over the lid. Beautiful shade. This is definitely my favorite out of the 3. And then the last one is the Iconic Vitality. I used it quite a few times as well. I'm sure you can guess. My favorite is this raspberry shade and that slightly darker, more burgundy shade. This one is the only one I think out of the three that actually has a black in there, although it's not the most vibrant of blacks. But this is a really nice neutral palette. It has a few warmer tones, it has a few cooler tones. So if you're on a budget and you're looking for something that's quite neutral and easy to use, I think this could be a good option for you. I don't think I would love to have... maybe one of these could actually be a palette that I'm trying to pen, just because otherwise I'm not getting enough use out of these. What do you think? I haven't thought of it before, but maybe that could be a good option as well. So many options, way too many palettes. Maybe I could do like a rotating my palettes thing next year as well. But now we only have 3 left. One of them again is one of the oldest palettes in my collection, which is the Balm Nude Tude eyeshadow palette, and this could be another great contestant. This was in the very first project pens I think that I had on my channel, which was again the roulette pen collab, but the first round I was in, which I think was round 5. And I think again this could be a good option. As you can see, I already have pen on Sassy, I have pen on Sexy, Serious, and Sleek and Sultry is completely gone. There are 12 shades in this palette, I think. Hold on, how many girls are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, each 2 shades, so yeah, 12 shades. The one I'm not too sure about is Silly. That's not really my kind of shade, but Selfish is a nice color. Although, because they're getting a bit older, I think they are a bit more worked now than they used to be. But Selfish is quite a nice, cool tone brown. Then one of my absolute favorites from the palette is Standoffish, which again is a nice pinkier shade, although it's hard to tell in these lights. Sexy is amazing as a liner. It almost looks brown when you just use it as a liner. It's not too dark. Sleek is perfect as an eyebrow shade. I really rate this palette highly. And I remember it used to be huge on YouTube and no one is really talking about it anymore. But I think they should. If you can still get this, I'm pretty sure the Balm is still selling it, although not many people talk about the Balm anymore for some reason. But if you can still get your hands on this, please do. Go, I think Debenhams stocks the Balm in the UK anyway. If you can, I highly recommend this palette. It's beautiful and I would love to have one of the matte, like meat matte palettes, I think, that are more of a matte shade. I also quite like the design of them. I think it's quite unique, at least I don't really know any other brands that have like this retro look to it. It's really nice. It just has, you know, beautiful shades in there. The brush is actually quite good as well that comes with it. I mean, I still need like a blending brush, but it's quite nice for liners or for smudging out colors on the lower lash line. And this could be another good option actually for next year. I almost forgot about this, but this could be a good one to try to pen. I mean, how old and better is this? It's another well-loved palette for sure. Second to last is my Milani palette in Everyday Eyes. And I think they had quite a few palettes. And mine is in the shade Earthy Elements. I don't think they do these anymore. I don't know why. I think they only have like the bigger palettes now. And finally we can get them in the UK, not just online, but in Boots as well. So you can see them in store. And I remember when I got this palette, I was sucked in by the orange, even back then. And then I just haven't used it that often. I don't know why. I should bring this out again. How many of you do have it? I remember these used to be quite big on YouTube. And they are a really nice formula. Like, they are easy to blend. They are still really soft. They are just really nice colors. Oh, there we go. I always forget to hold it in the right place. I mean, even now, after years... Oh, that orange became a bit funny. There we go. They still blend easily. They are a really soft formula. And I don't know why they don't do these anymore. They only have the bigger palettes. But I think these would still sell well. Or maybe they didn't, and that's why they got rid of it. The brush in here is quite decent as well. Again, I like a bit of a fluffier brush as well to blend. But this was quite a nice little brush. So if you're in a pinch or just want to touch up, it could work well for that. The shadows are really nice. It is getting a bit older, so maybe again this could be another good contestant. It would be interesting to see how far I can take it, seeing that there's barely any progress in here. Maybe this could be another good option, who knows. Although this is definitely not the oldest. It's newer than the Balm or my Naked palette, but it is a really nice palette. I really enjoy it, and I just don't use it often enough. But this is a really good palette. And Milani, when did you get rid of these? I don't know. And last but definitely not least is my Too Faced Pretty Rich palette, which is actually just coming up to a year. I think I bought it in January or February, and this was one of the first palettes that I got with my discount, and I was so happy. I definitely got sucked in by all the glitters that are actually not everything they cracked out to be, but they still have, you know, decent, you know, use in them. Well, not all of them, but Diamond Life I actually used quite a few times. I love this color, which is Set the Jewel Tone. It's one of those purpley bluey shades that, depending on the light, it's different, and actually it's quite easy to build up. Look at that, it's gorgeous. The glitters are really nice as well. It's an interesting, like, squishy kind of feel, and they work pretty as a topper. I'm not sure how much you can see what it changed. This palette was also in a project pan before, and that's why I have a dip on its cashmere. But I also used its designer and fancied that quite a lot of times. I love the shade Princess Cut, but actually it's a little bit harder to work with. I don't know, it's an interesting palette. Those two and that one work beautifully, but then Oh That's Rich is a bit harder to work with. I find the shades in this palette are a bit more hit and miss, and the packaging is so bulky. It's definitely not one to travel with. I mean, it has a mirror, but it might as well not. It's tiny. And I am sort of disappointed in this, but then also I still love quite a few colors. Again, that one is beautiful. Silver Spoon is actually surprisingly nice, even though I don't really like silvery shades. And I used Cool Under Pressure quite a few more times than I thought, just because it's quite nice as a sparkly black. Let me just show you. Look at that. Again, that's a shade that could be quite nice at New Year's Eve. I mean, it takes a bit of building up, but it is a nice shade. So, altogether, I don't think this is something I would pan next year, just because it's fairly new. But yeah, I'm still not sure about this palette. I'm quite happy I have it, but at the same time, I feel like I'm happy that I could use my discount with this, because I would definitely not pay full price for this. I would be so disappointed if I paid all like the £42 I think this was, or around that mark. But I'm happy I have it. It's just not something I think I would pan next year. But let me know what you think. To be fair, if there's any other parts of my collection you want to see, let me know. But this was more just so I can show you what I'm working with, and please try to help me what I should pan, because there are so many options that would be quite nice, I think, and I need help. But for now, I'm gonna go. I hope you had a good day today, and you will continue having some good ones. And let me know what you think of this video. If you enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing. It would mean so much to me. But for now, I'm gonna go. Again, have a lovely day, and bye. It's the weirdest bye-bye ever. Bye.